Hi, this is Sean. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, if you could do so, that would be great. So on the screen, we have the Timex Q. I've had it for a couple of weeks and I just wanted to share my thoughts on the watch, both positive and obviously there will be a little bit of negative later. So in terms of the history, you probably know this already. Quite an old watch this in terms of its release, but it was first released in 1979 and it was basically during the quartz crisis when companies had to switch things up a little bit and alter their design. It's a very 70s design here, and obviously it was quartz, that's what the Q stands for, and it's supposedly a divers inspired watch. In the last few years, Timex have done some really interesting stuff, automatic watches. There's various iterations of this, and I love the brand. And in terms of some of the specs, this is 38 millimeters. As you can see, various combinations in terms of colour. It's £159 retail price, and you know, decide for yourself, and I'll give my opinion on whether that's good value or not. It's 38 millimeters, as I said, 11.5 millimeters thick. It's got an acrylic crystal. It's 50 meter water resistant. It's got a day and a date. It's got luminous markings. It's got a steel bracelet. It's quartz. Just showing you some of the marks on this. I bought this from eBay for £100. Got a scratch on the crystal, annoyingly. The seller didn't point that out. Tried to buff it out with Polywatch. Hasn't come out yet, but maybe it will do. So, I mean, just showing you the back. The bracelet's adjustable via a clasp that moves up and down. It's not kind of pins and you adjust the bracelet that way. So in terms of my opinion of this watch, I really like it. I do like the watch, and like I said, I've had it for a couple of weeks, and one of the things that I would say about it is the quality is there compared to other Timexes. I mean, you know, if you think about the Weekender, etc., the 60, 50 pound Timexes, this is definitely higher quality. You can feel the solidity of it, and you can see it in the packaging. You know, they've made more of an effort to make this a thing. When you buy it, it's a treat rather than, you know, some of them come in kind of old boxes. Just while it's on the screen, one of the things that I noticed, and it was the first thing really that I noticed about the watch, in terms of a negative, is the movement. So it just seems to be not amazingly high quality. So obviously when you adjust the time and date on a watch, you normally pull it out to first position, that's the date, and you pull it out fully and that's to adjust the time. There's no clear demarcation between those two, and it kind of slips in and out. I don't know if that's something that you found if you own the watch, or it's something just with this piece, you know, whether I bought a dud. I also noted today that the day is not quick set, and I've checked on other videos, it doesn't appear to be. It's not this watch only, so you need to move the day by adjusting the time, which can be a bit of a pain, but you know, I mean, it's Timex. I didn't expect the movement to be of amazing quality, but this is something that struck me, and £160 is not cheap for a watch, particularly for a quartz watch, so that's something to bear in mind. In terms of other good things though, it's a great size. I mean, 38 millimeters, 11.5 millimeters thick. It wears really nicely. My wrist is 6.25 inches, and it just feels nice on my wrist. I think the automatic versions of this are 40. I much prefer this size. I think it's much nicer on the wrist. I think it wears lovely, and that's the main selling point really for me of this watch. The reason why I bought it and why I like it. It's great design. You know, it's an interesting looking watch. I mean, you see it on the wrist here. Like I said, 6.25 inch wrist. It wears nice and thin. It's a really nice size, not too small, not too big. The bracelet tapers really nicely. But yeah, so the design, it's obviously very 1970s design. and could you call this a budget Royal Oak type thing? But it's more closely akin to the PRX, the Tissot PRX, which is just released. And I think on balance, I'd probably rather have this. I think the Tissot would probably be slightly higher quality. I've never held one, so I'm making an assumption. But this is half the price, and it's got the bezel. It's more interesting. I think the bezel is a good thing as well, because it's useful to have a bezel. You can use it for timing things, and it just adds visual interest as well. I mean, this is a sports watch, even though it's not really a sports watch. It's all about the design of the piece rather than the function and the tool nature of it. In terms of the bad things, the movement I've already mentioned. That's the main gripe for me. Lack of water resistance. It's 50 meters water resistant. And how can a watch be diving inspired if it's 50 meters water resistant? It should be at least 100 meters. The price, tell me what you think about the price. £160 for me is too much for this watch. I paid £100 for it, second hand. I just think it's slightly overpriced. I think £160 is a lot of money for this watch. I mean, it's a lovely watch. I really like it. And you can see, it looks good quality, and it's an interesting looking watch, but maybe not at £160. The loom doesn't strike me as being particularly good. Again, I didn't actually know that it is working loom, but it is, but it just doesn't work particularly well. So in terms of summing up, for me, it's a decent watch. It's a nice size, a lovely size with a nice design. But for me, £159 is slightly overpriced for it. If it would have been 100, 120, but you can get other watches for the same money that are perhaps higher quality. But if you're going for this design, then you can't really go wrong. So tell me what you think about this watch in the comments. See it on my wrist one more time. And thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.